Hello everyone, this is Zibo and welcome to today's video. So in today's video, I'm going to share with you what some of the dumb mistakes that you should probably avoid when you first start out a game or when you're still in the midst of exploring the game because you don't fully understand it yet. So this list is kind of special because it's not just my personal ideas. I actually asked the members of my Discord server for their opinions on this topic, and they came out with a list of pointers for me to present in the video, and I simply just edited it, filter out some of the less important points, and here are the list of dumb things that you should probably avoid when you first start out Guardian Tales. And the first mistake that everybody should definitely avoid is not joining a guild when you first start out a game. So always join a guild because it doesn't cost you anything. There's no minimum level, there's no minimum requirement unless you're looking for a very competitive guild, but that is a point for another video. So for joining a guild, you get multiple perks, ranging from free resources you get from daily guild attendance check and daily gems when you do your guild attendance. Other than all these freebies you get every day, if your guild is actively raiding for the guild raids, you can actually get a decent chunk of gems at the end of raid season. So all these additional resources will definitely help you, in speeding up your game progression. And the second mistake you should avoid is not building a shop in Heavenhold and not upgrading it as soon as possible. So why should you build a shop and upgrade it as soon as possible? The reason? Very simple. Because the shop will offer you a whole list of resources you can purchase using soul points or gems. So when you reach the higher levels of the shop, you have higher probability of unlocking all the better end resources such as legendary awakening stones, high level limit hammer for much lower prices, and high level awakening stones. So having a shop as soon as possible and upgrade it whenever possible is a go-to, because you can unlock like multiple good stuff as soon as possible. And the next mistake that all beginners should definitely avoid is over diversifying of resources. So what do you mean by that? Over diversifying of resources means you invest a bit in every hero, like some awakening stones in like Coco, some awakening stones in Knight, some awakening stones in Rachel, all over the place. So you have your resources all over the place. The correct way, or rather the most efficient way to play the game, is to focus all your resource on building up one unit first. Basically your core unit, or your most important unit, or your favorite unit, okay, whatever you call it, right? So putting all the hero crystals to maximum brigade, putting all the awakening stones to unlock all the nodes, as well as increase the overall stats of your core hero, is the most important thing in my opinion. And I think it's kind of like a very crucial mistake that a lot of people are making, because if you have your resources split all over the place, you won't really maximize your damage. And if you split all your resources, you will realize that you won't have enough when you need the resources on the most important heroes. So please don't over diversify your resource allocation unless you have a lot of spare resources lying around. And the next mistake that every beginner should avoid is overspending your gems on revives within story mode. So if you are facing difficulties in clearing the stages, work on improving your heroes first and think of ways of dodging the boss's attack. Think of ways, or go watch videos on how you can actually clear the stage, and try to avoid overspending the gem. So what do I mean by overspending? So in my Discord server, there are actually people who spend thousands of gems on revive on certain stages. So thousands of gem is very valuable, and you can use the gem for other purposes like buying of stamina to power up your heroes, or using the gems for summons to increase your hero pool and hero diversity. So gems is super premium, super valuable, and you should try to minimize usage on hero revivals. If you can't clear the stage, you should work on strengthening your hero first before revisiting the stage in order to save on those juicy gems. Point number 5 is actually not communicating with the community. So community in this sense referring to what? So within Guardian Tales, there are multiple different communities that is running, with many experienced players and many experienced guild masters sharing how to do your raids properly, how to build your hero properly. And these communities ranges from Reddit, you know, Discord servers. If I'm not wrong, there's also some forum, KR forum, and I'm not very sure about global, but there are some forums running, and also some Wikia pages, you know, done by fans of Guardian Tales. So all these are all the different communities that you should be a part of to increase your knowledge and also to interact with other players, because we all know that Guardian Tales is a very single player based game, and it's good to be a part of a community, right, to actually feel attached to it. So this is definitely a valid point for all beginners. So if you haven't joined any communities yet, you can also join my Discord server down below. Yeah, I'll link it up, you can join that. Next, always complete story mode to 100%. Always try to, because there's so many freebies you can get from finishing the story mode, right? You get you know, your purple coins, you get your soul points, the yellow crystals you see on your display UI on top, right? You get you know, completion gems, you know, 50 gems per star. So if you complete 100%, you get 150 gems. And you know, you get the skin at the end of the story mode if you clear everything. So skins give you more aesthetic, give you more stats, and you know, give you more bragging rights as well, because you have those special skins. And yeah, always please complete the story to 100%. And the next mistake that you should avoid is not attempting PvP format just because you don't like it. I think this is a very valid point, because a lot of people, they are sick and tired of losing in arena, maybe because they do not have the unit for PvP, or they think that it's very time consuming. If you have the time, I will at least advise you to do at least 3 runs per day for PvP, because you get 50 gems per day if you know, participate in arena at least 3 times a day. You get 5,000 gold if you at least participate in Colosseum 3 times a day as well. So although it might take up a bit of your time, but the rewards in the long run is definitely worth it. And other than that, PvP also has AI opponents, where I think it's much easier and it will actually give you the win most of the time. So you can actually win matches and upgrade your ranks within Arena and Colosseum both, right? And you can get more gems on a weekly basis. So always attempt PvP, no matter how you dislike it, because as long as you attempt it, you will get free resources, and all these free resources are always welcomed. Another mistake that I think most people might have committed, okay, or at least this part, when I read it, I felt that it was very closely relevant, was not reading the stats of your weapons. Okay, so reading the stats of your weapon is really important, because usually when you want to limit break your weapon, you will choose the one with the best stats, or the stats that's most suitable for the hero that you are building. Because not everybody is lucky, right? Not everybody is gonna get the most desired stats that they want. So always remember to read the stats of your weapon before upgrading them, before using them for limit break, or before random evoing them, random evolution. Okay, so please read the stats of your weapon, because all weapons have different stats, and some weapons are better than others because their stats are way better. So this is a key point that all beginners should definitely remember. And the next mistake that I think is kind of valid, right? And I think it applies to the previous point that I talked about, which is focusing all the resources on one unit, is actually over spending your awakening stones and hero crystals carelessly. So what do I mean by that? So awakening stones are stones you use to upgrade the stats of your hero. So you should actually focus all the awakening stones on core units within your team, right? You should focus on the units that you really want to build, either for raid, either for Camazon, either for PvP. So you know, all these resources are very precious. Unless you're a big time spender, you don't really get these resources very easily. So choosing the units to put all these stones on is a very important thing for all newcomers to the game. And as you slowly understand the game and know more about what are the units that you want to build into, then perhaps you can start spending money to get all these additional resources to help you improve your gameplay. As for hero crystals, I think this is a very common question that everybody asks. Should you use hero crystals to get evolution stone? The most direct answer is it's okay to use hero crystals on your first unique hero that you're building, right? But subsequently, it's not so worth it. Let me explain why. So on the first unit that you're building, which is most probably your core unit, right? Using hero crystals to boost your first unit to 5-star will actually increase your overall power level of your team. You'll see a substantial increase most of the time. So this will allow you to farm higher level dungeons much more easily, and being able to farm higher level dungeons will give you much more resources. So spending the first bucket of hero crystals to max or rather 5-star your character by purchasing their evolution stone is okay, but subsequently not encouraged, right? If you are very impatient and you just want to see your hero 5-star as soon as possible, go ahead, you can actually spend your hero crystals on the evolution stone. However, the reason why it's not recommended is because hero crystals is kind of like a premium resources as well, because it's very rare. You don't really get a lot of it within story mode, and you don't really get a lot from the summoning as well. Sometimes based on luck, some people are really lucky, they get a lot, then okay, that's that. But on average, right, you don't really get hero crystals that easily, so you shouldn't spend it post investing. You shouldn't spend it on evolution stone post 5-starring your first unit. Yeah, so save it, don't spend too much of it on evolution stones. Okay, and the next mistake that all beginners should definitely avoid is not understanding how chain skill work. So chain skill is basically the combo feature that your team gets when your main unit successfully crowd control the boss. So you will see like this 3 additional icon on your right hand side of your different characters. So chain skill works in a way where you want to chain your hero's chain skill as much as possible. So you can have up to 4 chain skill in a different battle. And why is chain skill important? Because chain skill basically is additional damage, additional buffs to your team, and chain skill means additional control time on the monsters, on the bosses. So understanding how different chain skill works and how different chain skill combine with each other is very good, especially for guild raids. For beginners, to understand chain skill is also effectively boosting your raid damage. So this is one thing that I think is really valid and you should definitely take into consideration. Okay, so we have come to the second last point for today's video, and that is try to avoid using your higher level equipments as base when you're doing random evolution. So in story mode, you actually get a lot of level 40 and 50 equipment, those 4-5-star equipment that you get from story mode. So some of these story modes are not super late game useful, so you might want to use them for random evolution, and you should use the high level ones for random evolution, because the random evolution equipment will be based on the level of your your main material. So if I use a level 50 equipment as the base, right, I'll get a level 50 end product. So use those high level equipment as a base, because if you get a good equipment you want, having it at a higher level, right, will mean that you will have to spend lesser EXP hammers on upgrading it, which is like super good, right, because you save quite a lot of EXP hammers. So please remember to always use higher level equipment as a base when doing your random evolution. Okay, and the last point for today's video, I think it's not really a beginner thing, but it's something that I think all beginners should also take note of, and that is your status ailments, right? So what do I mean by status ailments? So I'm actually talking about your airborne, bleeding or rather injured, right, down. So these 3 statuses all have different effects. So understanding how these different statuses work can allow for more damage under different scenarios. So you can actually read more about it within the story itself. They actually explain how the different status ailment works. And yep, that's all for today's video. These are the dumb mistakes that all beginners should definitely avoid when they first start out the game. I'm sorry I had to filter out some points from the Discord server because some of the points are not really like geared towards the beginners, but towards, you know, maybe if you're in the middle part of the gameplay. So I'll definitely make a separate video using some of the points that was included within the Discord but not included in this video, so no worries about that. And yeah, that's all for today's video. Thank you everyone for watching, and I hope, you know, this video is helpful for you. Remember to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell in order to receive more educational content from Zibo Gaming. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye bye!